Self-doubts and fear of failure are one of the biggest flow stoppers. So in order for you to overcome these hurdles, I'm going to talk about how to become more self-confident today, how that helps you to find more flow, and give you 4 practical tips. Hey there, good to see you again for today's video. I'm Ava, head of content at Flow Lab, the mental fitness app that helps you to find more focus, motivation, and flow. You heard it in the intro, self-doubts and fear of failure are one of the main reasons why people are not able to enter flow states. When doubting our abilities, we also tend to set lower goals. And if you've tried the app or follow us on social media, you know that flow requires setting challenging goals and really stretching your skills. Also, when being preoccupied with self-doubts, we have less mental capacity left to focus on our activity and ideally be so concentrated that we even merge with it. But there are great mental coaching tools that you can try to develop a strong mindset and build more self-confidence. So to start off, let me first give you a bit of background info. But if you're not that much into the psychology behind it, just skip to the next chapter. I know there are multiple angles on self-doubts that we could adopt here. And if you'd like to see more videos on this, just let us know in the comments. But for today, I decided to go for a well-researched concept that we hopefully all can benefit from. So self-confidence is closely related to what psychologists call self-efficacy. The psychologist Albert Bandura was the first one to define it around 40 years ago, and it's basically the belief that you're able to achieve your goals. There's general self-efficacy, which, as you may have guessed, is the general belief in your ability to handle new tasks and new challenges, while specific self-efficacy means believing in your abilities in a specific situation or about a particular task. So to give a few examples, specific self-efficacy can arise in the study context, which is called academic self-efficacy. There is entrepreneurial, creative, or even emotion regulation self-efficacy. And these are only a few, but you get the idea. By the way, if you'd like to dive deeper into the psychology behind self-efficacy and flow, or also other mental fitness topics, you can check out the Flow Lab blog, where we really try to disentangle all the different psychological concepts and how they are related to flow. I'll put the link in the description. We see from an endless number of studies that self-efficacious people show higher persistence, are less susceptible to anxiety or depression, and are also more successful overall. And I touched upon that earlier, self-efficacy facilitates flow. In fact, it goes even further. Apparently, self-efficacy and flow reinforce each other so that we ideally tap into an upward spiral. This means that people with a high level of self-efficacy set themselves more ambitious goals and exhibit more motivation. This in turn makes flow more likely, and you probably know that people can achieve outstanding performance during flow, so that they're more likely to succeed and thereby strengthen their self-efficacy beliefs again. I love this fun fact, and it definitely motivates me, and hopefully you as well, to care for my mental fitness. But let's get practical now. When Bandura defined self-efficacy, he also determined 4 sources that strengthen it. So let's go through them, and for each source, I'll also give you some recommendations for guided Flow Lab meditation that cover the respective sources. So here we go. The first one, and a very effective way to boost self-efficacy, is through so-called mastery experiences, so success moments from the past. Maybe you prepared well for a difficult exam and in the end also got a good grade. And next time you go into an exam in that course, you may feel much more confident that you can master it as well. So to boost self-efficacy, remind yourself of what you've accomplished in the past, no matter how big or small. Just imagine these situations as vividly as possible. If you like, you can even start a list of your successes, so you have them ready whenever you need a confidence boost. You can make a table, for example, with different columns and write down any of your success moments. For example, when I continued with my presentation despite technical difficulties, then the strength you exhibited in this moment, for example, remaining cool-headed in a stressful situation. A support or something that can help you to recall and use the strength in the future. Perhaps taking a slow, deep breath in this example. And finally, a self-affirmation that you can remind yourself of in the crucial moment, such as, I remain calm and flexible, or my humor helps me to remain equanimous. I like to do it this way, but of course feel free to adapt this table according to your needs. You could, for example, also write down any positive feedback or compliments you received. Make a free flow of thought rather than a table, or perhaps a mental imagery. Just experiment what works best for you. And of course, you can also reflect on your past achievements with the flow session mountaintop or on your strengths with core strength. Both can be found in the training area of optimism in the Flow Lab app. All right, moving on to the second source, which is based on the fact that we learn from observing other people around us, something called vicarious learning. We learned how to chop a paprika, to brush our teeth, or to use certain proverbs or idioms in appropriate situations. And we can also use it to increase our self-efficacy. Because watching other people succeed shows us that something is actually doable and strengthens our expectation that we can master it as well, especially if we perceive the other to be somehow similar to us, being the same age, having the same background, and so on. And others not only show us that something is possible to tackle, but perhaps also how to tackle it. We may get to know strategies that we can adopt ourselves to approach a challenge, learn about the resources that can support us along the way, or they could also inspire us to challenge our perspective and to adopt certain mindsets that can help us make progress and push through when things get tricky. So if you know a person who has already achieved something that you're currently pursuing, or perhaps this person is simply a few steps ahead of you, you may ask yourself questions like, what can I learn from them? Which obstacles did they have to overcome and what helped them to do so? Perhaps even proactively reach out to them, because let's be honest, most of the time people feel flattered and are happy to share their experience. And this source not only works through direct observation, because mental imagery can be quite effective as well. Studies show that visualization improves performance and also increases motivation. So I'd suggest you give them a shot and perhaps check out the flow session role models. Because in this guided meditation, you'll directly put these impulses into practice. It's about bringing to mind a personal role model and reflecting on the things this person can teach you. Let me know how you like it, and in the meantime, we'll come to source number 3, verbal encouragement. The people close to us, such as family and friends, but also teachers, managers, or coaches, can strengthen our self-efficacy beliefs when they encourage us to tell us that we have what it takes to succeed. Of course, we need to feel that this is really genuine and credible. But getting this kind of reassurance motivates us and helps to build confidence that we can even make it through a rough patch. So next time you're doubting that you can master a challenge, share your thoughts with your dear ones, and maybe they have some kind words for you and tell you what they appreciate about you. But I know sometimes this feels a little forced. The good thing is that it's not only the things that other people tell us, it's also how you talk to yourself that matters. So you can also learn to encourage yourself, because there are many studies out there, especially in the area of sports psychology, showing that positive self-talk helps to achieve better performance, maintain your focus, and increase confidence. There are quite a few flow sessions that cover this source, one of them being Best Friend, and you'll find it again in the training area of optimism. Make sure to give it a try. All right then, all good things come in fours. So finally, the fourth source I'm talking about today is about how you interpret physiological and emotional states. For just a moment, imagine standing on a stage in front of a large crowd, right now. You're about to give an important presentation, and perhaps you feel your pulse going up, your palms getting sweaty, or your hands are shaking a bit. Maybe you're even blushing a little. Which thoughts most probably cross your mind in that situation? Do you feel embarrassed for these stress symptoms and hope that nobody will notice? Perhaps become even more nervous? Well, research shows that interpreting these physical stress symptoms as hindering high performance, which is called stress is debilitating mindset, performance indeed seems to drop. But you can also view them as actually helping you to perform better. Mentally put yourself onto that stage again for a sec, just to imagine that your pounding heart is a sign of excitement because you know that you will grow from that experience, that this moment is simply important to you, and you know that your body is just providing you with the energy you need to focus. This is called a stress is enhancing mindset. And as you probably guessed already, it enhances performance. And I know it's easier said than done, so again, I have a flow session that may prepare you for whatever challenge you're nervous about. Because with challenge accepted, again in the area of optimism, you'll practice to make these stress symptoms work for rather than against you. All right then, I'm curious to hear what works best for you. Just leave a comment and also comment one of your strengths that you want to recall more often in the future. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also share it with whoever you think might benefit from these tips. You can also follow our other social media channels for more short format content. And otherwise, I wish you a great day. Hope to see you next time.